So for more on China and Peru's ties, we're joined by Carol Wise, live from Los Angeles, California. She's an associate professor of international relations at the University of Southern California. Carol, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Carol, Peru's new president, Pedro Kuczynski, has gone to China as his first visit abroad as head of state. His three predecessors all went to the White House on assuming office. What's the significance of this?
It's huge. 20 years ago, the relationship between Peru and China was nothing. And what we've seen, especially in the 2000s, is China's now the #1 destination for Peruvian exports. It's, as you said in your story that preceded this interview, Peru's now the #2 destination for Chinese foreign direct investment. We have never seen a country in South America of this size leap ahead with a partner this large, the second largest market in the world, at this magnitude. It's actually really quite exciting.
Well, why is the Chinese and Peruvian partnership so strong? What's behind that?
Well, obviously, it all starts with China wanting the resources, right? And Peru is one of these countries that has a wide array of very lush resources, everything from fish meal to tropical fruits and, of course, iron ore and mining. So it started there. However, the Peruvians followed the Chileans and signed a free trade agreement with China, and that had a kind of, if you will, symbolic, I think, weight for the Chinese. It showed that they're not fighting with everybody. For example, the Mexicans are filing anti-dumping complaints, and the Brazilians and the Argentines have got import licenses on a lot of Chinese goods. So it behooves China to have these close friends in South America like Peru and Chile, and it has been a very good deal for both of those countries to have free trade agreements with China.
Well, Carol, as you mentioned, China is Peru's largest export market. President Kuczynski wants to expand that further. Which sectors have the most room for more cooperation here?
Well, this is a very interesting question. I think the most important thing now is this Twin Ocean Railway, which would go from the Atlantic coast of Brazil all the way across to the Pacific coast of Peru. It's not clear yet if it would take a northern route or a southern route. However, this puts Peru on the map in terms of a trading state like it has never been put on the map before. And obviously, it's a good deal for China because they've had a lot of excess transport costs getting things from Brazil and Argentina over to China. So tapping the Brazilian market in this way with this so-called Two Ocean Railway is a very big deal.
Well, you mentioned that railway, and President Kuczynski hasn't exactly endorsed it. He says that the railway, which is meant to cut the costs of shipping Brazilian goods to Asia, as you mentioned, that it could be too expensive, it could be environmentally harmful to build. He hasn't ruled it out, but he hasn't exactly endorsed it either. What do you make of that?
Well, it's true. This is what he's got to navigate. He's got to navigate the fact that the northern route goes through both indigenous and environmentally precious territory, all right? The southern route, though, is much less, if you will, contestable, right? You're not trampling on those kinds of things. So what he needs to do is decide which route he wants to take. It would be in his best interest to take the southern route. But I think this is a domestic issue where the politics of it are quite delicate. And I think if they can decide on which way to go, that is to say, avoid the more volatile northern route, I think it would be a phenomenal deal. But what you're saying is true. There are so many other investments. Let me just mention one, and that would be the Peruvians are talking about adding greater value to some of the mining products that they have been exporting to China. And China has hedged on adding value on the import end. They want to add value when the good gets to the Chinese market, soybeans to soy oil in the Chinese market, right? But I think that because of the free trade agreement, there is so much room to negotiate ways for Peru to add value to everything from iron ore to textiles to things that really could be ramped up in terms of adding technology and adding value to the product.
Well, Carol, Peru wants a little more than that. They want to seek associate membership of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the AIIB, to obtain financing for some big projects. Do you see that associate membership happening?
I do, for the following reason. Peru is in APEC. Peru is, as I said, in a free trade agreement with China. And Peru has a free trade agreement with the United States, which has been somewhat eclipsed by the more dynamic relationship with China. My hunch is that it's pay to play. I mean, to be in that bank, you've got to contribute a certain quota. So the question is, have they become enough of an emerging economy to come up with whatever the entry fee is? For example, China was, complaining and moaning about the $300 million fee that they put up years ago to join the Inter-American Development Bank. That now seems like nothing to them. So I think this would have to be something where Peru's got to pay to play, and it's got to do some networking, right?
Right, indeed. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Carol Wise, Associate Professor of International Relations at the University